Why Combinator has helped launch some of the largest companies in the world. We're talking businesses like Airbnb, Stripe, Coinbase, DoorDash, basically the biggest tech companies of our generation. And a few weeks ago, YC made a massive announcement about what their next big bet is going to be. No, it's not going to be some flashy AI software ideas, but it's what's going to build the next generation of entrepreneurs. And I know this because I used this exact model to grow my business to over $7 million per year. Now, in this video, I want to show you exactly what it is and how it looks behind the scenes. Because if you are thinking of starting your own business or if you're already an entrepreneur, this model might just be the biggest opportunity for you right now. Before we get into how I actually copied it, you need to understand what it is. And as I mentioned before, this isn't some crazy software idea that takes years of programming. And despite this, Y Combinator thinks it's the next big thing. The reason is that you get the best of both worlds. You get a small team with super high profit margin. It doesn't take years to get started and it's extremely scalable. It pretty much gives you all the pros of running a software company without any of the cons. Now, people are gonna call the business model a bunch of different names. Some people call it AI assisted agency, AI native agency, whatever you wanna call it. What I call it is service as a software. The idea is that you sell a service, but you automate the service delivery so much that you can scale it like a software. So you get the scalability of software with the high tickets that an agency will usually get. Now, the reason this works is super simple. The agency model has been around forever, and it just makes sense. Businesses hire a team of experts, aka the agency, to help them generate more money or fix whatever needs to be fixed, and they pay the agency a premium for it. That's why you have agencies for pretty much anything. You have marketing agencies, content agencies, sales agencies. So any type of service that a business needs, typically you're gonna have agencies that are gonna help deliver that service. And so here the cool thing with the new business model of service as a software is that you get all the benefits of the service without having to hire a massive team. In the past, running an agency was extremely complex when it came to finding great talent. And the issue was that in the past, as an agency, if you wanted to scale, you had to hire a ton of people. Because the issue is that one person can only fulfill so many clients before the work takes a hit. But now, with AI, you can essentially double or even triple the number of clients that one employee can handle. So to give you an example, we used to have one go-to-market engineer, so you can see them as people delivering the service. So one of our GTM engineer used to manage 4 clients. Now, because of all the internal AI systems we've built, the same person can manage 13 clients. And since the cost per client stays the same, our revenue per team member nearly tripled. And this is the exact reason why Combinator is betting on this business model in 2026. And this is what we use to build a $7 million per year business. Now, if you literally want to steal the systems behind everything we do, we give it all away inside of our accelerator. That means everything from the AI agents we've built to help run our marketing, the exact onboarding systems we use to onboard clients, and the exact outbound campaigns we've used to deliver the services to more than 300 B2B clients. And these are the same systems we've used to help people like Jake go from 0 to 20K per month in 2 months, or Samuel who went from 10K all the way to 80K per month. Now, if you're someone who wants to take advantage of this model by implementing our exact systems, just hit the first link below and we will check if we can help you. But either way, this brings us to the first example of how this actually looks like in practice. And the first example I want to show you is list building. List building is essentially finding a list of people you can actually sell your product or services to. This means that you need to find their name, the business, the domain, the LinkedIn profile, and sometimes their phone numbers, along with a lot of different data points. And in our agency, where we help people generating leads, this is a huge part of the service delivery process. In the past, you used to have to open a bunch of tools, set up all of your filters, click through a lot of result pages, export your CSV, fix it, then re-upload your CSV in another tool, and then finally upload it in your campaign. And you had to do that for literally hundreds of different lists. So that in itself, that was like a full-time employee. In some companies, you even had like full-time list builders. But now, we actually build an internal tool using Lovable that allows us to do the exact same thing in a fraction of the time. Now, what I want to do is show you what the new way of doing things looks like. So let's get into it. So here what you can see is our internal list builder. So that's something we've been developing over the last 9 months. And here what I'm going to do is that I'm going to build the lists. I'm going to use Whisperflow to dictate my search query. And then the list builder is actually going to find the most relevant people for my query. So for our case in our business, we typically want to sell to a chief revenue officer, head of growth, head of RevOps. So what I'm going to say is find me a list of VP of sales, chief revenue officer, head of growth, head of RevOps in New York City at companies between 11 and 50 employees that have raised a seed round or a series A and that have at least one go-to-market engineer in their team. So here all the filters have been pre-selected based on the query. Now I'm going to submit the search. It's going to analyze my ICP and it's directly going to start building a list. And so for us, it used to be like a super time consuming task. We used to need to go on Apollo, which is like the most common B2B database, or inside inside of LinkedIn Sales Nav, select all of our filters, and then finally export. And so we had to redo the manual process every time we had to build a list. And now all of this is completely automated inside of our list builder. And then once we have it, all the list is being uploaded directly inside of Clay so we can continue with the rest of the data enrichment. Okay, now the next thing that we implement AI for is writing messages. And while this might seem easier, just writing down a few sequences and writing a few emails, things can get super strategic here. The thing with copywriting is that you cannot just act natural and try to convince a stranger to pay you thousands of dollars. So the thought process that goes into writing your sequences actually takes a decent amount of time. The old way was super tedious. You had to manually research the prospect, visit their LinkedIn profile, visit their website, finding what's relevant to them, and then finally drafting an email, and then repeat the same process for every single prospect. So that would have been another full-time employee. Usually you needed like a full-time copywriter. So it used to take potentially hiring 1 or 2 full-time copywriters. And now we've replaced the entire process using a tool called Twain. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. So here's a campaign we had set up with Twain. And the idea is that we gave the instruction about the idea of the campaign. So here what we were doing was reaching out to some seed stage founders. So people that didn't raise the Series A and that are not actively posting on LinkedIn, because the idea is that we wanted to sell them our LinkedIn content services. So we actually write content for some decision makers and founders at B2B Starter. And then we wanted to research some stuff about them. And so here we have the persona, we had some insight about them, the challenges they're focusing on, what they're working on, their focus, current company size, the website. And based on all of that information, and so here the idea is that Twain is going to write a full sequence for every single lead in our campaign. And so here we had 3 leads, and here you can see step 1 in our email sequence, step 2, and here we have it for every single lead in the campaign. And so again, this used to be something that we would do manually. You would need to kind of research a lot about the prospect, going on the website, making sure that you understand everything about the challenges they're facing, and then writing by hand your entire email. And now you can actually automate the entire thing with Twain. Cool thing is that you can even integrate it inside of Clay. And so if you build a list of leads, you upload it inside of Clay, you can actually integrate Twain directly and then write specific email for every single prospect directly inside of Clay, fully automated. So now that we did our list building, we did the copywriting, then the last part, usually if you want to do outbound and reaching out to people, is that you actually need to create a campaign inside of your email sequencer. So the most common tools are Smart Leads, Instantly, Lemlist to actually send those emails. And it used to be a very time-consuming process. Now, here you might be sitting there being like, okay, do I really need some AI tool to actually launch a campaign? I could just do that manually. And I know this kind of sounds ridiculous, but before, this process was actually extremely manual. You had to log in into the email sending platform, create a new campaign, uploading your CSV, creating all the settings, setting a sending schedule, add all of your email accounts, and then just make sure that everything was mapped out correctly. And you had to do that for every single client and for every single campaign. So if you multiply that by hundreds of clients and hundreds of campaigns, you were spending hours and hours every month just on this. Now, while it might not take as much time as the other 2 scenarios I just showed you, like list building and copywriting, it was actually like a very low leverage task, because at least in other cases, you were able to think strategically and get some value out of the hours you were putting in. But in this case, there is essentially no strategy to it, right? It's like a very admin thing to do. And in the past, we had to take time away from our list builders, inbox managers, or copywriters just to upload these campaigns. But nowadays, this is extremely simple with the help of tools like Cloud Codes. So now we're inside of Cloud Codes. I know everyone with like a full introduction to Cloud Codes. Everyone is very familiar. And so here it's something that lives on my computer. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to upload a list. We already have the copywriting. And so I just want to upload the list and then ask Cloud Code to create the campaign inside of Instantly directly. So here I have my list, and now I'm going to ask Cloud Code to actually create a campaign inside of Instantly. Here's a list of leads. Could you please upload all of this inside of a campaign inside of Instantly? Select all the mailboxes in my name, Alex, and just let me know once the campaign is ready to be sent. Okay, perfect. So now we're inside of Instantly. And so you can see here, I have my campaigns, I have all the leads. So I have the email, I have the email provider that the lead is using, I have the status, contacts, and then all the different data points I wanted to have. And so here you can see the sequence. So I can actually look what it looks like. So here the idea is that I'm pitching a recruitment service. So we help companies find go-to-market engineers because we know how to recruit them. And so here that's what I'm pitching inside of that first email. So here we can check email number 2, and here we have email number 3. And so you can see here like all the setup, like inside of Instantly, the email sequencer. First, you had to upload all the leads. You had to make sure that every single data point was batching inside of the sequence. So you see here, you have the variable. So you had to make sure that like first name, everything was written correctly. Here you had to add some spin tags to make sure that like not every email is the same. So here you had like the company name, and then you had to do that for 3 emails for like hundreds or if not thousands of prospects. Then you also had had to set up the scheduling, then the options, like which mailboxes to use, and then setting up the subsequence. And so now all of this is done completely automated with Cloud Code. And so our team is saving a lot of time because they don't need to set up that on instantly by themselves anymore. So now you have it. Like you see how much time we are now saving inside of our agency. So it used to take hours and hours to do list building, copywriting, and then uploading all those campaigns inside of Instantly. And now most of those tasks are fully automated. And now it starts to make sense why YC is actually betting a lot on that business model in 2026. And it's the exact one we're using to scale past $7 million per year in revenue for our own business. However, there was only so much tactical advice I could put in one video. So if you want to see another breakdown where I actually show you how to start this business for yourself, watch this video next and I will see you over there. Thanks a lot for watching and I will see you in the next one.